But yeah, what's up, everybody? This is Chow Mane. This week's guest is episode 48 of Dreadful Talk Podcast. Man, I really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. What's up?
Yeah, man. So, just man, want to start off talking some Bay Area hip hop. It's a very iconic, I guess you could say subgenre. Like you instantly when you hear a song, you pretty much know if it's from the Bay Area or not. And
Word, word.
Yeah, man. So like
Yeah,
it's iconic. A lot of people around the country when they think Bay Area hip hop, they tend to think East Bay, the E40s, the Too Shorts of the world.
oh
But
yeah, like the sound 15 years ago. Yeah, how,
you
how
you
everything was back then.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm just talking about. So I have an interesting perspective here. So I was born here in San Jose, but then I lived a lot of my life out in Oklahoma, and then I moved back here like 5 years ago. So
Word, word.
yeah. So I'm kind of like an outsider looking in. I haven't been here for the whole time like you have. So that's why I want to talk about some Bay Area hip hop and kind of But more specifically, you're from San Jose, so that's what I'm talking about. A lot of
Yeah,
people think
definitely.
East Bay, but I want you to talk about kind of what San Jose, the hip hop scene's looking like, and like, you're a large part of that. So just kind of take it away.
For sure. Yeah, no, man. I think the Bay's pretty diverse as always. It's been like that, ever since like the late '80s.
Yeah,
But of course, yeah. I mean, like you said, the spotlight's always been on East Bay. Mostly, a bunch of super cool talent coming out from like Vallejo, Oakland, and all that.
yeah,
I feel like San Jose is buzzing right now, though. Like especially recently in the last few years, like definitely Sacramento and Stockton, they've been like popping off, like even more so than a lot of like the East Bay has. And like I
yeah,
feel like all these regions are like coming into their own, like getting their own sounds and identities outside of just defined as like hyphy, like what
yeah,
people perceive it as.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think San Jose specifically, it's like pretty diverse too. Just
yeah,
like how there's so many different kinds of cultures and communities out
yeah,
here. It's like diverse in that you see a lot of you see some artists like doing more like a bass sound. You see some artists doing more like gangster rap, sounding like they're from like Stockton, and then you see like a lot of people just like kind of carving their own paths too. Like shout out, like Peachtree Rascals. They're like completely doing their own thing out from like San Jose, and
Oh,
then
sweet.
it's crazy, man. Yeah, everyone's kind of in their own lane, and I think that's really cool to see everything come together.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. And also something. So when I moved back out here, something I noticed right off the jumps, like back in Oklahoma, I've been in other parts of the country. I mean, they'll listen to rappers from all over. A lot of Atlanta rappers and a lot of LA rappers and just wherever. But people from the Bay Area like are serious about listening to Bay Area music. And I love it. It's something that I learned early on when I moved here. Every coworker I had was like, "Oh, you ain't heard this," or you hear every
Yeah,
parking lot just supporting the Bay Area music. So it's a very Bay Area people like to rep Bay Area music, and it's got to be good, for trying to build an audience here. We got that loyal fan base.
yeah, definitely. Like I remember growing up, like when I was in high school, everybody was listening to like artists from like Sacramento. Like in high school, I went to high school. I graduated 2012, but back then everyone was listening to like Woody and like Equipto and Andre Nicotina, and like
Yeah,
like artists that weren't from our city, but everyone's repping like the Bay pretty hard. But I feel like I don't know, maybe I haven't been outside here that much, but I feel like every region like kind of represents their own people. But it's just definitely
man.
like we've had like our own history and everything, just like
Yeah,
any
no,
other region has had.
the base tough though. Like the base sticks to their own because, like I said, every other city you go to, you're hearing a bunch of Atlanta rap, a bunch of LA rap. So no, it's really noticeable compared to other regions. Like the Bay Area kind of just sticks to supports their own, which is what any musician would love to have in a local scene. Now, what educate me here? I'm asking you. I said I'll claim ignorance here. Who is probably the most commercially successful rapper to come out of San Jose? Or if it's not commercially successful, just like your opinion of the best.
I would say commercially successfully wise, like we got San Jose, we had like Snow the Product, we had
Okay.
I don't know, Kung Fu Vampire. I'm trying to think. There's definitely big names I'm like forgetting right now
Yeah,
that
it's all good,
out here.
man.
Hey, the dude from Smash Mouth is from San Jose, so we got that.
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to Shrek. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but man,
Um,
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing is though, like a lot of people who come out of here and have like popped off on some mainstream scene haven't really like repped it as hard, or even like the Bay Area in general. Like definitely, I think the Bay's always had its sound, but within the last few years, for sure, like everybody is, as I said, like getting their own identities, and
Yeah, yeah.
definitely like with all this going on, is something that is gonna create some infrastructure in the future.
Hell yeah, man. And I feel like you're a big part of that. And like a part of another thing I respect about what you've kind of done over this past years, you didn't let the pandemic slow you down, man. You were constantly dropping songs, dropping videos, making music, and was that like a point you wanted to like not let the pandemic stop you, and everything was shut down?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really nothing else to do. I mean, so
Good point.
I
Good
have my
point,
own
man.
like home studio. I got the homies who are engineers, so I was able to just track everything at home, like shoot everything to people, and then like I wasn't like really doing a whole lot of video stuff during the pandemic. The only like big thing that we shot during pandemic was that San Jose music video, and that was just like hitting
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
homies up and like seeing who wanted to like come out on like a Saturday and like shoot in the parking lot, and that was it. Like everything else, a lot of the stuff that I was dropping during that time and that I'm still doing right now is stuff that I worked on before. I was just kind of sitting
Yeah.
on waiting for the right moment and everything.
Yeah, yeah. No,
What's up,
that's
Candace?
Hey, what's up, everybody watching live? I appreciate the support, everybody. You can find me on YouTube, Dreadful Talk Podcast, or wherever you get your audio podcast. I really appreciate Chow being a part of this week's episode. But yeah, man. So one thing I noticed in your music, man, is like you do a really good job of kind of balancing the lighthearted with also like not being like a joke. Like you're not like a you have serious music, but there'll be funny little bars or like just this kind of little lighthearted little lyrics. And is that something you kind of naturally do? Is that just like kind of your personality shining
Yeah,
through the
I think
music?
yeah, that definitely started out just like kind of naturally. Like I would say the first song that popped me off, where I started getting traction and like interest from the industry, people like reaching out to me and stuff, was that ABG song I did like 3 years ago. And that
Oh yeah.
song, I wrote it as like a joke song, and we just shot the video and everything. And then like when that shit started popping off, like people were like, "Oh, he the ABG dude and everything." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess that's cool." But I had all this other music that was like a little more, less like so in your face, like Lil Dicky type stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But then like like I feel like it's just always been part of the personality. Just like writing that type of stuff just kind of comes natural in the bars and whatnot. And
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't really like think about it much until I met with this dude from some agency that was like booking a tour for us last year, and then he had found me through, I forget which song, but something here on Spotify. And he like wanted to meet up and everything, and then he was like explaining my music to me. He was like, you seem like you got like a sarcastic tone and like talking all this like stuff. And I was thinking about it. I was like, damn, that's kind of accurate. I never thought about it this way, but that's kind of the voice, huh?
Yeah, man, and it's dope because it's like a signature, right? It's definitely like your style. Like having the podcast, I'll have rappers reach out to me, and I've heard obviously a lot of different rappers, and there is kind of a general sound that sometimes a lot of people have in common, but no, your sound stands alone, and like I said, I think that little humor and lightheartedness it helps it, and but yeah, I mean, I imagine that also like you don't want to be pigeonholed or boxed in as like a funny like yo I'm the Asian little Dicky like you're
Yeah, yeah.
that's not what you're going for, and I understand that people will try to box you in that way. Like I also
That's
have
definitely how it started out. I will say that, like, when that ABG thing popped off, and I was starting to get like people like booking agents and stuff, being like, trying to figure out how to market me. They're like, "Oh, so you're the Asian Lil Dicky," like stuff like that. And that's how I got it at first. I was like, nah, but like as I started thinking about it more, I'm like, it's really not that bad to kind of like lean into some of this more like funny shit, and like
yeah.
kind of this identity, because like there's no one in that like kind of lane right now. So I was like, yeah, I'll do some more stuff like similar, but at the end of the day, that's not like the focus of the sound and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you strike a good balance. It's definitely not all that, but I love that that's a part of the music for sure. Man. So like, what is the origin story of Chow Mane, man? How long you been at it? I know you've been years and years, but like, how did you really just decide like you want to kind of take it seriously?
Yeah, I didn't start taking it serious until 2017, and my bad, bro. I just ate a
No,
sandwich from Good Phone. Shout out Good
you're
Phone.
good, man.
But I started making music, back when I was, a kid. But I didn't start producing hip hop until like high school, because everybody was like trying to rap in high school, and I was making beats. And
Okay.
then I didn't like. do my first releases as Chow Mane until 2017, and really I just got lucky because that ABG song was like one of the first ones I did, and then that
Wow.
just like kind of popped off. So I got lucky in that sense. I know a lot of people who've been at it for a while and trying to find that one, and for sure, like that helped a lot. Just kickstarted my career, and so it's been about like 3 years deep right now.
Nice, nice. Yeah, man. It's like music really is one of those things of like the whole it factor. Like you kind of either got it or you don't. Like
Yeah,
it's you can't force it. Like if somebody hears something, nothing you can really say is gonna like make them like it more. They either gotta like it or they don't. And that is dope that it caught on fast, man, for sure. Because I love what you're doing and you're growing. Like I said, I've
appreciate it.
only been caught on for probably about maybe the past year and a half. But man, I've watched you
Ooh,
grow,
that's
and I've
like
watched you
that's
just.
half my career right there. You know
Yeah, I feel late to the party, man. I need to go back and check out them older tracks, man. But yeah, like I
Nah,
said,
man. I feel like it's a progression, though. Like
oh yeah,
it's always like looking back at the old stuff and being like, man, I would have done this different. I would have tried to like sound like this, make this more pop friendly, whatever. But yeah, I understand that too. So when I'm listening to artists, I want to like hear the whole like growth and everything. Their
yeah, oh yeah.
first tapes and whatever.
Yeah, that's how I like judge an artist. Like, I don't care how good the first thing I hear from you is. If 3 years later you haven't made anything better, I'm like, you're not working at your craft. Like you're not taking it
Word,
seriously.
word,
It's
word.
like because like I'm a big sports fan, and it's like the same thing. Like athletes, you got to get better every season. You got to add something new to your game. And I don't know. I feel like people
Word.
should approach music the same way of just like trying to whatever it is you do, man. Like if you're a dental tech, you should be a better dental tech in 3 years than you were. Like it's just that's how I think people should approach it. I know I try to do the same thing with my
Yeah, shout out
podcast.
to all the dental techs.
Shout out, man. I need to be like Theo Vaughn and get like random employees on here. But Ben, so I wanted to talk a little bit about your Go Back to China song, a little bit. I don't even think political is the word, just addressing the climate that we were, living in and still are living in. And was that kind of a statement that you kind of had always wanted to make, or do you feel like just the times kind
Yeah.
of called for it?
So that song was in my drafts. It was a much longer song. That song was in my drafts for a little minute, and then like when I think pandemic happened and a lot of the Asian hate attacks were going on, I felt like I felt like it was time to kind of just like fully execute it instead of just like writing about it. And
Yeah.
like the way I approached it, like originally, like I had been like reading a lot of Asian American studies books and like getting into like the history of the movement and like just the history of like racial solidarity and how like all these movements have been going on since the '60s and whatnot. And I basically I wrote hella verses. I wrote stuff like was super detailed, like totally not in brand. And I was like going over it. I'm like, damn, bro, I don't really want to make a song where I'm just preaching to people, like just talking about this type of stuff. I want to do it my own way. So I kind of like took out a lot of stuff and just kept the sentiment there. And then I knew Jason through another artist, Alan Z. I knew Jason was like doing a lot of Asian American activism and as well as like the music. So I hit him up to see if he wanted to hop on the song. He was down, and then we just kind of knocked that one out really quick.
Man, it's a dope song. I think it was like the song that needed to happen right now, and especially in our region, in the Bay Area, a lot of bad stuff was going on that front. Still, sometimes does
Yeah,
now. And so I came from Oklahoma, which is Midwest. It's the South. Like there's some pretty bad race relations over there, but it's more like black and white and brown. There's not even a whole lot of Asian people in
sure.
Oklahoma. So like whenever I moved out here, that was like a new struggle. Like I was aware with the racial struggle, but I wasn't aware of y'all's racial struggle. And I've learned a lot about that since I've been here. And it's just like
Yeah,
I was kind of naive when I first moved here. I was like, oh, I'm moving to the Bay Area. It's nothing but hippies and Grateful Dead shows. Like race relations are solved. Like I'm out of the South, but it's not that
right.
simple, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little more complex. I mean, of course, like I feel like the Asian community here is a lot more vibrant in that there's a lot more. It's a bigger group, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of shared
yeah,
identity and cultures that we could talk about. And I feel like it's even tougher for Asians outside of these metropolitan cities. Like especially you're talking about the Midwest and everything. Like
yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's super easy to be feel invisible and kind of just not be really nobody's really talking about the stuff you're going through, and then everything you do is kind of brushed off. At least here in the Bay Area, California, even like New York, like these places where there's larger populations, I think that at least there's like this sense of like community and the sense of shared struggle where like we can actually hold things like protests and rallies and whatnot for behind this cause. So yeah, it was definitely a crucial time for that song to come out.
Yeah, man, and like I said, it made me re-examine everything because I'm like, so I'm part black, and so like I've looked at like racial through a racial lens of like a lot of bad shit have happened to black people over the years, and
Almost
then I'm,
definitely, yeah,
yeah,
horrible
yeah,
shit.
and then I moved out here to the Bay though, and unfortunately, I don't know if it was the media or just how it was making it seem, but it seemed like a lot of the people doing the attacks against Asian folks was my people, black folks, and it was this weird kind of dichotomy that I was completely like unaware of, and I didn't really. It made me re-examine it. Just it made me kind of think back, and it made me kind of just look not myself in the mirror, but just kind of ourselves in the mirror because it was the shoe was on the other foot in a way that
Yeah,
really
I
I don't
mean,
know if
I
has
feel like
been.
it's not such a easy issue as that. I feel like it's
Yeah,
like a little more complicated too. I mean, of course, like there's
yeah.
gonna be people of any race like doing bad things to each other, but definitely like when you're looking at the actual statistics, it's like definitely media focus has been on that, but that's not necessarily what's been happening. Across the board, there's been a lot of stuff that hasn't gone viral, haven't been reported in the news. That's coming
Yeah,
from
yeah,
attacks from all other races, especially like when you're looking at like San Jose and Oakland, like some of these attacks have been going on. It's happening from everybody from all angles, and like historically too. It's not just like a new thing that these Asian attacks have been going on within the last year. Definitely a spike, but I remember last year. Shout out to San Jose Fools, that page. They posted something about
yeah. I
a
followed
lot.
them too.
Yeah, they posted something about like a lot of Vietnamese Americans and Chinese Americans that have been like attacked or killed in the last like 10 years from like hate crimes, like just like normally shopping at supermarkets and it's just normal shit going on, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like a brand new thing, but definitely like uh there's something going on, but it's good that at least like we're seeing in the public eye now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's always that bad relationship of you wish it wasn't happening, but at least it's being talked about more. Exactly, man. Now I gotta say, man. I mean, and this will be kind of the last question on this
Okay.
kind of tip, but do you feel the need for Asian representation in hip hop? We got the gay NFL players coming out the other day. We got black country singers now. Like, do you feel like it's just like the representation era and like obviously you're
Right.
not the first Asian rapper ever, but do you just
Yeah.
feel like the need of more of a representation there?
I think that it's a multi-answer question. We're in that like I feel like hip hop in its form is just like it makes it easy to share experiences and perspectives like through the form of like storytelling or just like coming out of talking from your own experiences and whatnot. So that's like initially how I got into it, and my first
Yeah.
like releases through Mooncakes. But I definitely there's been Asian American like hip hop artists and just artists in the entertainment industry in general that haven't really gotten a whole lot of attention. But like since like the 80s and 90s um, and whatnot. But I think right
Yeah, yeah.
now, one big thing is like just how easy it is to like the lower barriers of entry. You're able to distribute onto Spotify anyhow, as long as you got good like marketing skills and whatever, you can break through that and kind of get yourself kind of known out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure, man. That makes a lot of sense, man. Man, so listen, we got a little serious. We'll lighten it up a little bit.
or
I've seen you with the blue hair. I've seen you with the blonde hair. What you got planned next for the hair, man? What you got
Bro,
purple
I'm gonna just
coming
let the
next,
black
or
rock out for a little bit. It's been this shit been damaging my hair. I'm tired of like taking cold showers and managing it. I'm good for a little bit.
I feel it, man. That's why I got these, man. I don't really got to do shit, man. But I feel it, man. I do like. It's
What's up,
almost.
Cosmo? Jalopy.
Do you feel sometimes whenever you like put on like when you did dye your hair a certain color or something? Do you feel like it's like almost like a character? Like, do you feel like it's like almost like a WWE character or something
Yeah,
like
I
that?
mean, I didn't necessarily think of character, but for sure, like the first time I dyed my hair blue, that was because my manager was like, "Bro, we gotta do something to stand out and whatever." So he was like, "Dye your hair platinum," and I was like, "No, I'm gonna go blue, like the Super Saiyan." So I went
Nice.
blue, and then like it worked for a little bit. Like people were like, "Oh, that's the dude with the blue hair," and whatever.
Hey,
So that's
man.
how it started out. But like it was really just like testing out different stuff. And at the time, like my manager was asking me for like 4 or 5 months, like, bro, dye your hair, do some shit, you know. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
For sure, man. So I watch a lot of UFC fights. I have another podcast that's all about the UFC, and it's a very real thing. Like if a fighter changes their hair color, or it's almost like a
Yeah,
part of their brand. It's a very real thing. Like if it's all of a sudden the guy shows up with a different hair color, like don't even recognize the guy. It's a very real thing. All right, man. And let me ask you this question. And it may have already happened, but like if you had a dream collab, if you could snap your finger, get anybody on a track, what's keeping it alive? Like I don't want to say like dead or
yeah.
alive. Let's get Tupac
It
on
was
the track or something.
Lil B, the bass guy, but it
I
happened
was gonna
already.
ask. I was
So
gonna
shout out
ask
to,
that.
but Lil B
I
was my
saw
favorite
that.
rapper in high school, so that shit was crazy. And now it's
Man,
cool too because he's reaching out to all the homies. I guess he like found a lot of people after he found me, like people I work with and stuff. Because all the homies been getting DMs from him too, so it's cool just seeing everybody come out. But
yo,
yeah,
hell yeah.
that was a big one. I would say probably like E40 for sure. Lil Wayne at one day.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. That's what I wanted, man. I want you to dream big on them answers, man, for sure, man. So I also graduated high school in 2012. So like we're like the exact
Oh,
same age. Yeah.
word. That's
Yeah. So
crazy.
like Lil Wayne's definitely on, like our generation has an appreciation for
Yeah,
Lil Wayne.
yeah. I
Other
remember.
generations they
Definitely. I
can't
remember the
they can't
football games.
relate.
People were walking out to like a milli and everything. Like,
Yeah.
just like the whole parking lot going crazy when Carter 3 dropped.
Oh yeah, you already know, and I think that's dope too, because like that really instilled appreciation for like lyricism in our generation. Like Lil Wayne was spitting bars. Like we grew up hearing bars. Like these kids today, I don't know if they're growing up like hearing like actual like bars.
Hey, bro, but that's why I love like West Coast hip hop so much right now, and even like Detroit and Flint. I feel like everybody's spitting. Everyone's coming back,
Yeah,
especially like you know, people going crazy with the punchlines right now, man. Like,
I love
I
that
don't know
shit.
about
I
like the
love that shit.
mainstream because I haven't been like super tapped in with that, but definitely like a lot of the local artists like Stockton, Sacramento, and LA, they've been going crazy with the lyricism, and it's not like super like conscious lyricism or nothing either, but it's on like Wayne level of just like
Yeah,
these songs that go like make you go like, "She."
yeah. I love shit like that, man. I swear to God, I'll listen to a little Wayne song that I've been listening to middle school and hear a new fucking punchline. I've heard this song a million times. I love that shit, man.
Yeah, yeah,
And hey, stay at that shit, man. Stay not tapped into that mainstream, because like it happens to rappers whether they wanted to or not, man. The wave riding, and obviously you do your own thing, but you can tell that you're not tapped in to the mainstream, and I mean that in the best way possible, because your
word,
music doesn't
word.
sound like other people's music, and too many people's music is sounding the same nowadays. Now, like as far as how you envision your career, or maybe there's already an answer for this. Like, do you have like a independent vision, or would you want to get signed to a major label? Like, if you could have it your way, how do you
Yeah.
envision that?
I think ultimately the goal right now, I'm trying to build out Five Spice Entertainment as an indie label, and it's been a lot of ups and downs, and we're still like working on securing more deals and securing more funding. But so far, we have two other artists signed to it besides from
Oh,
me. But
dope.
definitely the independent route, like I'm trying to chase that. Bro, it's crazy. Every time you find out about like a new Bay Area rapper, I saw this on Twitter the other day. You go through the catalog, they got like 36 albums. And it's like you get this like small loyal fan base who like constantly streams your stuff, and pushing out a load of content. I feel like that's enough to stay sustainable. And
Oh
I
yeah.
look at someone like E40 who like been doing this since like 88, 89. And like he was definitely like tapped in super with the Bay, and then recently like just been going crazy like outside too. It's cool to see that growth and that continuity and that what's the word, longevity. So
Yeah, for sure. The longevity, the whole marathon, not a race type thing. I mean, I'm sure you're a Nipsey Hussle guy. I am too. It's like
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like you can't run an independent label and not look up to the late great Nip
yeah,
Hussle. But
definitely, definitely.
yeah, man, he's a big inspiration to me as well. It's just because like the podcasting game is kind of similar. It's a long game. It ain't gonna blow overnight. It's a long game for sure. So I could definitely appreciate that mentality and that struggle, because they come one and the same when that. But I think in the long run, when it pays off, because like there's so many rappers out there that like they're signed to a deal and they get the exposure, but then they don't own nothing. You know, they don't own the music. They don't own the car they're driving. They don't own the fucking chain
I
they're
mean,
wearing. You
I
know.
feel like that's fine too if you can leverage that into something further. You know,
Oh
like
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with signing like a big deal, especially if they're like offering you all the resources. Like I would love to, be in negotiations for something like that. But if you don't got it right now, it's like you got to build it yourself. So that's where we are.
Oh yeah, I respect that, brother, for real, man. So this is gonna be kind of an interesting question. Have you ever done a show? There's like worst case scenario, the crowd wasn't feeling it. Like essentially, like when a comedian bombs. Like, have you ever had like
Yeah,
a
I
moment
have.
like that?
I've only had one show like that, and that was I forget what it was. It was at this festival, but for sure like it was a bunch of kids like pulling up to turn up, and I think the DJ right before me. This was like 2018, I think. But he was playing like hella 6ix9ine, and then the crowd was going crazy because they're fucking with it, they're moshing, and then he had to cut it because my set was like right at the end of that. So I came on and people were still trying to turn up and mosh and shit, and then my set was totally different. So it was like, fuck, I couldn't capture the energy. People were like mad, they were booing and shit. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna knock out the rest of the set because I was paid for this time, and then I'm gonna leave. So,
I no, exactly, bro. But I feel like that makes you a stronger performer when it's all said and done. Though, like rips that band-aid off. Like the worst case scenario already happened, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's been the worst so far. I mean, definitely, I feel like it could have been worse, but it's cool.
Yeah, no, and it's real. So that's I have a good friend that raps. He rap back in Oklahoma. He's out here in Cali now. About he he does not make like hard music. You know, he makes music for the ladies, the fun party, whatever. But it's not like gangster rap. But he got
Right.
a fucking opening show. He was opening for Chief Keef, and the vibe
That's
just didn't
hard.
match at all. And he was like, people was throwing like beer cans on stage, and I was in the
Yeah.
crowd like, that's my best friend. I'm like pushing people in the crowd that's throwing beer. It was wild, man. So, but like I said, I think those experiences make you stronger, and as long as you don't
Yeah,
let it
yeah.
beat you, you know, as long as you don't
I mean,
fold.
you definitely got to tailor, like when you do a show, you got to tailor it to what you think the audience is going to be and what they're going to like. You know, if it's a club show, they're not going to want to hear you rap. Like a song like that, you just want to like turn up, drink with them. Versus
Yeah,
like,
that's
coffee
real.
shop show might be different and whatnot.
That's very real. Yeah, you got to set yourself up for success, man. And then one other story, Kevin Durant, back when he was in Oklahoma, he was like he had a studio and he would fuck with this rapper named Prodigy. I'm pretty sure his name was Prodigy. And he was up on this stage once. He was opening up for somebody. I want to say the Migos, and he spit a song. The crowd was not feeling it at all. So
Mm.
he did the one thing you never supposed to do. He was like, "Oh, y'all must have not heard me. DJ, run it back." And he did the same song to the same cricket.
That's crazy.
It was
That's
super
that's
cringe.
hella funny. That's like a fuck you move.
Yeah, no, it was like, yeah, it was like I felt both sides. It just I felt bad for him, but hey, he was like, no, y'all gonna feel my shit. So hey, it was just
Yeah,
a unique experience for sure, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, do you listen to much podcasts in your free time? Are you a podcast guy? Or are you just too busy with the music?
I haven't been tapped in with too many podcasts. I know the homies listen to, No Jumper and like the Joe
Mm.
Budden Show and everything. So sometimes I'm tuned in, when I'm working out their houses or whatnot, they'll have it on in the background. But in my own time, I'm not really like super tuned into podcasts right now.
No, for sure, man. That's another. So what does Chow Mane do whenever he's just living his own life? He's not making music. He's not on stage. You know, he's not dressed up. What are some of your own personal hobbies, man?
Man, I'm just watching a lot of like anime and shit.
Oh, dope, man. That's what's
Yeah,
up. That's what's up, man. I'm
yeah,
I'm a new anime fan, man. I say it proudly. Like some people try to like what is it? Just act like, oh, I've been here the whole time. Like no, I fully admit
yeah, yeah.
I'm a new anime fan, but I like it, man. It's a experience that can't be like replicated. Like a lot of TV shows are similar, but like me, as I never saw it my whole life, and then I experienced it. It was
It's
just like,
because they have like concepts that you can't really do without like a huge budget if you do it live action. And then like
mm,
just the art style and everything. But I mean, I want to say just anime, but like I'm spending a lot of time watching movies and whatnot. Like, so I'll do
no, I
that when
feel
I'm not
you.
doing music.
Yeah, when you're working hard, I'm sure you're a busy guy, and in your free time you like to relax. I feel it. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. And then like so like in a lot of your lyrics, hell, even your name, in a lot of your songs you reference like Asian food, and that's something that's been one of my favorite experiences of living in the Bay is just experiencing all these wonderful Asian foods that I never ever would have got in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But for those people out there, like your average boy American that like thinks Panda Express is like fire Asian cuisine, what is like a low key, maybe like less popular dish that maybe like, somebody not tapped in wouldn't be aware of that you like a must have, like a must try, like you got to experience this?
I think every Asian culture has their own variation of. In Chinese, it's from sao, which is like braised pork belly. But
Oh yeah.
they have that variation. My favorite is like actually not even the Chinese variation. I like the Vietnamese or like the Cambodian version, where they cook it with like eggs and chili peppers.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but if y'all are in the Bay, definitely go to San Jose and go to Oakland for like some good Cambodian and Lao food. Those are like my favorite cuisines. If you can handle spicy, it goes crazy out here. You can't really get a lot of it except for certain cities and whatnot. So yeah,
Good looking out. I've never tried that myself. I'm gonna write that down, man. I gotta try some of that myself. I thought I had it all. Little did I know, man. I
hey, you
appreciate
gotta go
that.
check it out, man. There's this
Oh
one
yeah.
spot in by Fruitvale called I forget what it's called, but if you look up Cambodian food by Fruitvale, I'm sure you'll find it.
Cambodia. Yeah, no, good looking out, man, for sure. Yeah, I've loved that part of moving to the Bay Area. Just all the because it's different. So like in the Bay Area, like you can't get like legit Southern food. Like I mean, I guess you can. Maybe there's some ducked off soul food spots or something. But like where I'm coming from, like the biscuits and gravy, the fried chicken,
Yeah, it's not the same.
it's not the same.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like it's
yeah.
a substitute because you get all the other like worldly foods that like you can't get back where I'm from. So yeah, no, it's a wonderful trade off for sure, man. And then what is a podcast really if you don't talk UFOs, man? It's like a rule. It's an unwritten rule of
Word.
podcasts, and it's like it's not an official episode unless you bring up UFOs. I didn't make the rules, bro. But
Yeah, okay, for sure.
what
Yeah, we can talk about UFOs.
what's your thoughts on like all this stuff coming out? The Pentagon. Have you seen any of it? Do you think what are your own personal views on UFOs? It's kind of
Uh,
random, but I'm curious.
yeah, I haven't been super tapped in on what's been going on, other than like the whole Area 51 stuff where hella people pulled up like last year. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
man.
I feel like there's something out there. The universe is infinitely big, so somewhere in some place there is. I don't know if they found us yet, but they out there.
I feel that, man. I feel like if you think otherwise, you're kind of arrogant, right? You kind of yeah.
There's infinite possibilities, especially like in an infinite universe. So it's got to exist in one. It's like the timeline thing, if there's like infinite timelines, it's like that in real life.
I agree, man. I'm pretty stoked. They've been releasing like the military footage and everything. I actually had my first UFO encounter not too long ago here
Oh,
in
you gotta put me on. I don't know anything about this
here in
stuff.
San Jose, man. It was wild, man. I thought my eyes were deceiving me, man. There was like this bright light. It was like it would flash colors. It would flash white light. Sometimes it would go dim. It would move in all directions. Like it wasn't moving in a straight line. Like it would move up, down, sideways. It was wild, man.
Where at? What part of the city?
So I live here in downtown San Jose, man, and it was like right. I guess I think to the southeast of me. It was wild, man. But all
All
right,
right.
and then what you got next for this year, man? Now as things are opening up, you got any tours planned? You got any
Yeah,
releases coming
just
soon?
a lot of projects right now, man. So like definitely like I've been working on building five spots for the last like few months. So one of our artists, West, Taiwanese American singer from Arcadia, he's putting out his project next week. And then me
Nice.
and Sahi from San Francisco, he's half black, half Chinese. But
Oh,
me and
dope.
him, he's also on FSC. We got a collab project coming out in like 2 months. We put two singles out already, so if you haven't peeped them yet, go check it out. One's called Do What
Okay.
I Like, the newest one's called Patina. But yeah, we've got a project like that coming out, and then later this fall, I'm doing this like little Trap Chow EP album, cause
Dope.
like I hop on these features all the time for trap songs, and people seem to like them, even though I don't normally do trap beats. So I'm just trying one out, a little trap album. We just shot a video for that one, for a song off that with Swim Coach.
Nice.
And yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Oh, and in October, if you guys are in California, pull up to Long Beach. I'm performing at FanFest
Oh, dope.
alongside Ruby Ibarra and I think Pilo, the Filipino American Heritage Festival. I'm not
Oh,
Filipino,
sick.
but shout out all the Filipinos.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I knew you were gonna stay busy, man. You're great at that, And I think that's the part you figured out, man. Like that's separating you from your peers is just the consistency and the quality, obviously, but just one after another, man. You never let too long of a period go by because you know everything moves so fast in this world. Everybody's trying to get somebody's ear, so you don't let people forget about you. You keep dropping music, man. I really
Yeah, man.
respect
I
that
feel
about you.
like yeah, it's interesting. You know, one of the homies used to tell me you gotta be either hot or cold, where you're either like one of these artists where you just wait for a period and you're just like ice cold, nobody remembers you, and then you just put all your resources in a huge push, like a huge album and whatnot. But I prefer to be more like consistent with it, and you know, I'm gonna just like go the little B route and just like keep
Yeah,
giving you content. You know,
yeah,
if
no.
it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it's cool. There's more.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. I respect that about you. I respect your work ethic, man. I love your music, and I'm excited to see what happens for you, man. You know, we can go ahead and wrap this up, man. I really appreciate your time, brother. And yeah,
Yes, sir.
no, everybody go support. Shout out your socials. Shout out your YouTube. You know.
Yeah, man. My socials right here at the top, Chow Mane. You know, hit me on YouTube. Hit the Five Spots Entertainment channel because that's where all the videos are being uploaded to right now. And we just started out. We only have 300 subscribers, so go run that up. And
Yeah,
thank
go
you
run it up. Yeah,
for
yeah.
putting me.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your time, man. Rooting for you, man.
All right, man.